Let's get it, man. Everything good? How you doing, bro?
Man, you be all right. How about you?
Hey, man, you already know, man. Let's hop right into it.
Let's get in. Let's do it.
P. Diddy, the trial.
Uh-oh.
So much going on.
You'll find it.
Woo! What you think the verdict could be? And before we go into exactly what you think the verdict could be, just some breaking news just this morning. Prosecutors want to dumb down some of the RICO charges. That's crazy. They want to take away some of the charges, some of the arson.
Okay.
You know, any thoughts on the prosecutors taking away charges this late in the trial? Like they're wrapping up, literally
Right.
wrapping up, closing arguments.
Right.
And they want to take away the arson, kidnapping, aiding and abetting, sex trafficking, and it seems like they're really trying to get him on the racketeering
Absolutely.
charges.
Absolutely. That's what I think the the basis of this is. I think we talked about it, but it's a RICO case. It's a racketeering case. It's the type of things that they use to convict monsters. John Gotti went to jail behind as a result of the RICO statute. So that's what they're trying to get Puffy for. And I think we got to kind of put out of our mind that this is a rape case, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? This is a organized crime case, and that's something I don't think most people look at, because we look at the sensationalism of his trial. But I do have to say, if you're a prosecutor this late in the case, and you're saying, hey, we want to take away this, we want to take away that, that's telling me that they don't have a case against him in certain regards.
Absolutely.
So that's good for him.
Yeah, that's definitely not a good look. You taking away charges because it starts to look like you loading up all these charges on the back end, but at the end of the trial, literally at closing arguments, you're like, we need to drop some of these charges. And one of their excuses I was reading, they said they didn't want to confuse the jury. So it's a lot going on. And let me just say this. I'm not here to convict. I'm not here to free Diddy. We just voicing our opinions. I've never been in no Diddy parties. I've never met Diddy. So we just analysts on the outside looking in.
Absolutely.
And once again, we do not condone any type of violence, any type of sex crimes, anything. We do not condone any of that. Now, to the case. Everything that I've been reading revolved around some type of sexual activity that was consensual. They're not coming after you as far as sexual assault or anything like that. But a lot of things that came into question is what Diddy does in the bedroom. Now, this goes for every single person on this planet. In my own personal opinion, I don't care what no consenting grown folk do in their bedroom. That's between them and Jesus. That's it.
Yes, sir.
No, so
That's between you and your father.
yeah, I don't want no information of what two consenting adults do in their bedroom. Now, I look at this in a couple different ways. If this was a crime case, it is a crime case, but let's say Cassie volunteered to be a part of this criminal enterprise. Now, those that are in crime, in the life of crime, participating in crime, you follow by the crime rules. The argument is saying, hey, she was a part of it, but she wanted to get out. For those that have ever been in the life of crime, I'm just going off of observation. It's hard to get out. It's not like that, if that was the case. Now, I do see some violence from Diddy. Don't approve of that. I do see that. If this was an assault and battery charge, oh yeah, Diddy, go ahead and take that plea deal real quick because you're guilty. Okay? And we said this before. Cassie is not no angel. I believe because of the circumstances and based on what I've heard, I believe somewhere in there, Cassie was 100% willing participant. If this was a RICO, they was traveling from New York to Miami to LA, because that would make it a federal. I believe she was all in it to win it. She was trying to get her money. And people gotta understand, a lot of people do a lot of stuff for money. I can't speak for her, but for me it seems like once she got to the point where she felt like she was straight, she was like, oh, I'm cool. Or maybe tried to push away when Diddy maybe was like, oh, you know, what's up, let's keep going, or she kept doing. And then even some of this stuff, it's like Diddy wouldn't watch her have consensual intercourse with these people.
But then that kind of begs the question a little bit, like, okay, I agree that it's consensual, right? But if you're transporting individuals across state lines for the purpose of trafficking sex, right? Isn't that part of the criminal implication of this whole thing? I mean,
Yes, and that was brought up in one of the articles. The companions, they were exclusively, it was in writing. This is where the prosecutor said it gets kind of confusing. It was in clear writing saying this pay is not for sex. This pay is for you to enjoy yourself with the guests and to keep discretion. So Diddy had it covered.
to keep discretion.
To keep
Is
discretion.
that saying, hey, we're giving you this money so you don't talk?
Pretty much what the defense is saying is the prosecutor is trying to charge Diddy with bedroom crimes. He a super freak, that's his thing.
Yeah, we know Bucky. We know who he is nowadays.
Yeah. But the prosecutor is in a tough squeeze. And I believe they kind of dropped the ball a little bit for it. They don't go after a prominent guy like this. You gotta have your ducks in a row.
And that's usually what you think you would get from a federal prosecutor. Federal prosecutors are probably the best prosecutors in the country, from what I understand. And from what I understand, the federal government's not gonna bring a case against you unless they already have everything lined up that they need to get a conviction. Like lawyers get ratings based off of wins and losses. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering, I wish I knew more about the legal aspects of it, because I would really like to know, where did the prosecution lose their edge in this case? Because I think going in, you're going, man, this dude is fried. You know what I'm saying? Because we all know the rumors and the history and the allegations of Tupac and everything. So there's things out there about him, but just not sure where the prosecution lost kind of control of this case. It looks more and more like he has a real chance of beating a lot of these charges.
Absolutely. I think they focused a lot on the stuff he did in his bedroom. Some of that stuff was freaky kiki. Yes, it was. That's his thing. But when it gets to transporting, like he hired companions, which is legally is legal. And
Is it legal?
Is legal. It's legal. You can hire a companion.
It's legal to have a sex business?
No, but that's the thing. That's where the confusion is.
Where's the
Yeah.
legal license to do that? Because in any other state or anywhere else, you gotta have a license to sell something.
No, he's not selling sex. He's selling a date. Like, you can come and hang out with us, but this is just for your discretion. We're not paying you for no sex. Absolutely not. Now, what I believe what may happen is, once those types of things happen, and another thing, a lot of celebrities didn't come to either side. A lot of celebrities was almost like, I don't want to be mentioned at all, good or bad.
Yeah, no, this is so I was seen some things, looking at some things on one of my websites, and there's some questions of whether he's going to ever be able to really get back to functioning as, a record industry influencer, I guess, or record industry producer. There's some questions about that. And from what I understand, one of his former bodyguards is saying that it seems like they're trying to as much convict him as much as they're trying to ruin his reputation. Kind of like how they did R. Kelly. Now, they got the conviction with R. Kelly, but that dude's reputation is, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm not sure where they're going with this, whether they're going to get a conviction or not, but it looks like they're completely trying to ruin the person and the image of Sean Puffy Combs as a record producer.
Absolutely. And I will say, if he's found innocent, I think the media would try to shame him, but
That's gonna happen.
the industry is, and I'm sorry to say, the industry is sick. So a lot of those people at Diddy's party, they probably gonna be like, let's have another one.
So, these things are starting to come out now, right?
Hmm?
We're getting Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, and Kendall Jenner, the Kardashians involved, Naomi Campbell. I've heard Naomi Campbell's name. I seen a picture. I've seen some pictures. So some names are starting to kind of come out. Leonardo DiCaprio, you may have heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, what they did to poor little Justin Bieber. Golly, man. But yeah, man, some things starting to surface now. You know what I mean? Especially with this internet culture, you know what I mean? We have access to all information. So we're starting to get some ideas of who those people were. You know what I mean? For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a secret anymore.
Oh no, and I think that both sides is a little worried, but I think everything is going to Diddy. And also, what was it, just last week? A jury, one of the jurors, members was removed for apparently lying about his address. So this is tough. It's too much, and when this types of stuff happen, and especially with us, and this is where our lack of trust for the media works for the defense of Diddy, because we already don't trust the media, and now you like, hold on, y'all got Diddy is pretty much a billionaire, close to it, but we're just gonna say a billionaire. So you got this billionaire on trial, not a 100% tight case. Y'all replacing jurors towards the end of the trial. You're removing some of the charges at the end of the trial. That don't really sit right with me. And I'm not speaking on just P. Diddy, just any case, whether it was an assault and battery case from Joe Blow, and you talking about adding and removing stuff, that don't sit well with me.
I certainly agree with that in terms of these charges. Because it clearly seems like they're, kind of waving a white flag on that, saying, hey, we don't have anything here, that's prosecutable. In terms of the juror, you have reserve jurors, and you have people who are, jurors who are ready to step in, substitute. I'm not sure what the term is, the legal term, how they refer to them, but they do have jurors ready to replace jurors just in that case. So, so that's not so much of a sticking point for me, but certainly, because the guy, there are some issues about his residence and not being part of that jurisdiction. But I would just have to say, if I was the defense, I would certainly be feeling good about the fact that, that the prosecution has dropped